Welcome to our channel Combo Minds. If you didn't subscribe to our channel, please subscribe. In this video, we are going to see how to perform AND or if operation in Excel. AND function. The AND function comes into use when we have to test several conditions and make sure that all of them are met. So here the AND function tests the conditions and returns true if all the conditions were true, or else it mention it as false. For example, if I have to check whether a number in cell address A1 lies between 10 to 50, I can mention it as equal to and A1 greater than 10, A1 less than 50. Here the number sh- should be in between 10 to 50. Then only the condition becomes true. Then only both the conditions which you have mentioned will be true, or else the condition becomes false. If any one condition were failed to satisfy, the AND function will return it as false. Now let me explain the AND function with the help of a truth table. So if A is true, B is true, then only we get the value is to be true. If A is true and B is false, the AND will return only false. Similar way, if A is false and B is true also, we get only false statement. So here if both the conditions are false, then also we get only false in AND function. Now let me move into OR function. So the OR function compare two values or statements and returns the value to be true if at least one of the argument or one of the condition is true, and returns false if all the conditions are false. Example, here if I have to check the same number in the cell address A1 is greater than 50 or less than 35. Here if the number is greater than 50 or if the number is less than 35, here if any one condition was true, then the Excel returns the condition to be true. For an OR function, the truth table will be like this. Here if A1 is true, B1 is true, the function will also be true. If any one of A1 or B1 is true also, the condition OR will return to be true. Here if both the conditions are false only, we get the value as false in our statement. So here if function, in the if function, we can perform a logical test and return one value for a true result and another value for a false result. That means, for example, if I want to check a student database and to deliver the students who have get pass mark in the examination, and I was mentioning the condition for pass mark is to grade above 70. So here if A1 is greater than 70, then the Excel returns the value to be pass, or else the Excel returns the value to be fail. That was the condition which we have mentioned. So next one, we are moving on to a task. Let me assume the task for understanding these concepts. Consider the 5 employees and the performance rating for past 5 months. Here a company want to select one employee for on-site, and this employee should have a performance rating above 40 in all his 5 months and above 90 in at least 1 month. So for this concept, I am going to use AND or if all the three functions. So now we shall see the performance rating values attained by the employees in the 5 months. Okay, now let me move into the Excel sheet to explain this concept. So I have opened a spreadsheet and I have copied the values, the performance rating for 5 employees the past 5 months. You could see there. Now I also mentioned the minimum acceptable limit and high performance value. The minimum acceptable limit is 40. I have mentioned it here. So the employee should have secured above 40 in the performance rating in all months, all 5 months, and high performance value 90 in at least 1 month. Now I'm going to perform the AND function in the Excel spreadsheet. So I'm mentioning the condition equal to AND B5. So I'm using the AND function to check whether the employee has secured above 40 performance rating in all the 5 months. If you have secured above 40 in all 5 months only, we could accept him. That was the task. So if you have failed to do that, we have to reject him. I am using the dollar sign. So because I have to consider only 40 for all the employees in this AND operation. So I am using the dollar sign. I am mentioning the formula for AND function. I am selecting the cell B5 greater than C$12. For each month I have to check whether the employee has got above 40. So I am in the performance rating, so I am mentioning it B5 greater than C$12, C5 greater than $C$12, D5 greater than $C$12, D5 greater than $C$12, then F5 greater than $C$12. Okay, I have entered the values. Now I'm closing the parenthesis and I'm going to press the enter button. So Excel has returned me the first condition to be false. Now I am filling it up. For the other employees, you could see the employee A and E are failed to meet the condition because they have scored at least above 40 in all the month. So in case if you want to know more about the dollar sign, you refer our first video in the playlist. We have explained about the dollar sign clearly. R function. Now I'm going to perform the R function. The R function will be performed in similar fashion like AND function. So I'm going to compare. So I'm just copying the cells, copying the formula in R function which we have performed in AND function. So R, but here the cell value is not C12. We are going to compare the value with C13. The R function was performed to check whether the employee have secured above 90 in at least 1 month. If the employee has secured above 90 in at least in 1 month, the condition will be true, or else the condition becomes false. That was the use of R function here. So you could see A has secured above 90 in at least 1 month. Similar way, B has secured above 90 in 1 month. Whereas C, D here, E haven't secured above 90 in at least 1 month. So the condition becomes false. So likewise, you could perform the OR function. Now I'm going to the if function. So now the if function equal to if. So if and, because here both the conditions should be true, that is the employee should have secured above 40 in all months and above 90 in at least 1 month in their performance rating. So I am using the AND function. So if and G5 equal to true and H5 equal to true, then I have to select the employees. So I am mentioning it within the parenthesis because the select is a string value. Select, or if the condition fails, reject the employee. So I'm closing the parenthesis for if statement and I'm going to press the enter button. Now I'm going to fill it up. You could see employee except employee B, other employees has failed to mention the has failed in the conditions. So I'm selecting the employee B. So I'm highlighting it with green text. So I am highlighting the employee B. So employee B has been selected for the on-site program. I hope you could have understand the and or if function usage in Excel spreadsheet. To get more updates regarding Excel spreadsheet, please subscribe to our channel Combo Minds.